You're still awake, aren't you? Good. Then you're just the kind of soul she liked best. Quiet, alone, listening. Today I want to tell you about a girl. A girl who never quite belonged anywhere in this world. Who found comfort in things most. People feared. Things with wings, with whispers, with sharp little teeth. Her name was Eliza Thorne, and she lived in a house that everyone else had forgotten. It sat at the edge of the woods, half swallowed by vines, its windows always fogged. Its roof bowed under the weight of seasons no one counted anymore. Children would dare each other to get close, but they never made it past the iron gate. Something about it made your skin feel watched. That was where Eliza lived out alone, or at least that's what people thought. But Eliza wasn't truly alone. Not since the night the sky gave her a gift. She was 9 when she found it. A summer dusk, warm and golden, the air thick with honeysuckle and dust. She'd wandered too far from the neighborhood again. She always did. Drawn to the hush of twilight, to the wildness at the edges of things. That's when she saw it. A small shape in the dirt, trembling. A bat, not like in the cartoons. This one was real, fragile, dying. Its right wing was twisted, bloodied. Its tiny chest rose and fell too. Fast, other kids would have run. Eliza knelt. She didn't flinch, didn't gag, and was not scared. She leaned closer, her breath slow and careful. The bat turned its head, and their eyes met. Something passed between them in that moment. Not fear, not pity, but recognition. She took it home in a shoebox, named it Ash, fed it apples mushed into paste and water from an eyedropper. She made a little hammock from an old scarf, and every night she talked to him. She told him about school, how the other girls laughed at her clothes, how the teachers called her gifted but an outcast. She told him about her dreams flying, always flying, above houses and fields, and the noise of everything that hurt. Ash blinked at her with tiny, ink-black eyes and listened. Weeks passed, his wing healed. The day she let him go, she stood, barefoot in the tall grass behind the house, holding him in open palms. She whispered goodbye. He paused, then vanished into the dusk. And that should have been the end. But it wasn't, because that night another bat came, then another, and another. Soon, every evening, they gathered near her window. Hung like fruit from the trees, waited. She would sit at her desk with a flashlight and read aloud to them. Poe, Lovecraft, old fairy tales about monsters and forgotten gods. And the bats would stay, listening. They became her companions, her flock, and Eliza, she became something else too. Something the town didn't have a word for. By the time she turned 17, they called her Witch Girl. They whispered when she passed. Told their children to stay away. Teenagers threw eggs at her gate. One even nailed a dead squirrel to her mailbox. But Eliza never cried, never retaliated. She just watched, listened, and at night her winged friends circled higher and higher above her roof. That was when Thomas Wren came to town, the preacher's son, blonde, smiling, all charm and loud laughter. He took one look at Eliza and saw a challenge, a prize. He tried to talk to her at the library. She ignored him. He brought flowers to her gate. She left them there to rot. He didn't like that. Boys like Thomas weren't used to silence. They mistook it for weakness. One night, he followed her home. He said he just wanted to talk. She said no. He touched her wrist. She flinched. And the bats came down. Not many, just 3. They didn't bite, just hovered. Close. Too close. He ran. 3 days later, he was dead. They said he fell. Snapped his neck behind the churchyard, down by the old ravine. But no one could explain why he'd driven there alone at midnight. Or why his car radio was playing that same song over and over. A love song, mocking. The town blamed Eliza. They couldn't prove anything, but they didn't need proof. They needed a scapegoat. And Eliza had always been too strange, too quiet, too wrong. Three boys decided to fix the problem. They followed her into the woods. They didn't know she was carrying a book of folk charms, didn't know she'd left offerings in hollow trees. Didn't care. They pushed her. She hit her head. Bled in. Her hair, leaves in her mouth. She stopped moving. They buried her in the roots of a crooked birch. No coffin, no prayers, and left her there. But the bats knew, the forest knew. That night, the moon turned red, the wind died, and something crawled from the soil. Not Eliza, not exactly. The bats came to her dot, they hung from her arms, her shoulders. They whispered secrets in a language no one remembers. She listened, and then she walked. The first boy woke to a house without sound. No crickets, no humming fridge, just silence. Then a rustle. He turned. They were already in the room. Dozens, hundreds. They covered his face, crawled into his mouth. They didn't kill him, not yet. But when the sun rose, there was nothing left but a dried-out corpse. The second boy tried to run, tried to flee the town, but the sky followed him. The trees leaned over the roads. He saw her in his rearview mirror. He screamed and crashed into a tree. The third boy never screamed, because he never got the chance. He vanished. Weeks later, hikers found his bones arranged in a spiral. Tiny bat skulls placed in each eye socket. They searched the woods. Found nothing, but sometimes they hear the wings. Whispers in the trees, and the house at the edge of town. It still stands, cracked, quiet, breathing. They say if you walk past it at dusk, you'll see her silhouette in the upstairs window, reading, waiting. Some say she controls the bats. Others say she became one of them. But I know the truth. She was never a witch. She was never cursed. She just listened. In the dark, listen back, Dot, so if you hear wings in the attic, if your dreams smell like dirt and old blood, if something small and fast brushes your cheek at night, don't swat it away. Don't scream. Just whisper. Tell her you remember. That might be enough to save you, or not. Sleep tight.